why would you be dating this girl? Like you have Michelle.
Hi guys, welcome to What's in the News with Fee. Can't wait to chat with you.
All right, so let's get started. So since we're on the topic of relationships, so the internet was all abuzz earlier this week with these snippets from an interview. Michelle Obama and her brother Craig Robinson, they have a podcast, IMO, with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson, and their guest was Tracee Ellis Ross of Blackish fame, Girlfriends, and she is the daughter of superstar diva Diana Ross, but she has made a name for herself, in her own right. So during this interview, excuse me guys, I am so dehydrated. So during this interview, now I have to set this up because the snippets on the internet, people just post the snippet that will make their argument instead of, watching something in its totality. And initially I was going to respond, but I was like, no, let me watch the full podcast. And I say watch because I listen to it on YouTube, like when I'm driving. And I mean, I'm not watching it while I'm driving, but I did finish it at home. So the style that I don't know if this is the style of IMO, but the style of this particular interview was that Tracee Ellis Ross and Michelle Obama are friends, like in real life. So it was a very comfortable, a very like it wasn't like a professional Q&A type of deal. It was like friends talking with her brother in the room. And they had a question from a viewer. So they read the question, and this guy, I can't remember his name, but he had a question about dating. And his friends had suggested, because he wasn't clicking with anyone and he'd gone through these relationships, he was kind of hung up on an ex. So his friend said, well, why don't you stop dating until, you learn yourself, and then you can, once you know who you are and what you really want, then you can go and try to find another person. Well, so in responding to his question, that's when these relationship, everyone's, giving him advice. The brother's giving advice, Michelle's giving advice, and then Tracee Ellis Ross. But intertwined in their responses to this viewer are these anecdotal details and stories from their dating life. And the whole dating younger men thing happened. She mentioned that when discussing what she describes as men her own age having a level of toxic masculinity. And I know we've heard that term, it's ad nauseum. And she describes it, she's very, I hate to say the word articulate, but she's very deliberate in her speech and very great, good at explaining what she wants her message to be received as intended. But that don't stop the internet from, mixing up some stuff. But so the men have a level of toxic masculinity that a woman like her, she's not going to go for, in terms of them wanting to possess her and own her, because that's what she said. She felt like a possession, this level of ownership. A lot of men her age being like homophobic, just things like that. And what I was thinking when I was reading all these Tracee Ellis Ross, she missed her time, she's dating all these younger men, she just is for the EX with the S in front. And what I got from the interview is that, and she says this is not me just postulating, she says that she's a unicorn, which she is. Like, she is a mixed race woman, a mixed race daughter of a Jewish gentleman and a superstar international diva from the 60s, 70s, 80s, the like queen of Motown, who had a love child, who has a love child with Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown. Like, this is the stuff of legends and movies and biopics. And she has carved a name for herself, even though she uses the Ross last name. When you say Tracee Ellis Ross, I think of Girlfriends. I don't think, oh, there's Diana Ross's daughter, although there is a strong resemblance. I just don't think that. I think she has her own identity. But she's saying she's a unicorn. So I don't know if, I know now a lot of men are, acknowledging like misogyny and patriarchy, and they're getting therapy to unlearn some of the things and traditions and the just the tropes that are passed down to men. And I don't know if she's dating just black men or throughout, others or whatever, but that's kind of, it doesn't matter what your race or ethnicity is. That's kind of that machismo, that's pretty much universal. So she admits that. What I also like that she addressed, although she is a full person who loves her life and is successful, she still grieves the fact that she isn't partnered and she did not have children. And that's such a real statement. I am unmarried and I have not had children. I'll say yet, because, anything can happen. And you can still love your life. Like, I am grateful and appreciative and happy for the things I've accomplished, and I really enjoy freedom. I can literally do whatever I want to do and not be beholden to someone else. I can move across the world, and I've moved across the country a couple times. I can, it's a certain level of freedom and peace of mind when you don't have to worry about children day in and day out. Because my friends with kids are just like, Felicia, this anxiety, it never goes away. It never goes away, even when they're adults. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there's a cost, there's an opportunity cost for every choice that you make. So if you get married, then you're not going to be single. If you have children, then you're going to have a lifelong responsibility that, you always have to consider the well-being of someone else, including yourself. And that's a big, 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 big responsibility. And stating that two things can exist at the same time. You can be happy as a single person, and you can also grieve not being married and not having the life that you envisioned. Your life looking different than what you envisioned as a young girl, as a young woman. So watch the interview, watch the podcast, because it's so much more than the clickbait that's being shared on the internet. It's just a wealth of wisdom. And you don't have to agree with everything she's saying or anybody's saying, but the nuggets that I got were those that related to me. And even for things I didn't agree with, I respect her, for having her own opinion. And just the friendship between Tracee and Michelle was like really, really refreshing to see. So, I'm gonna save the foolishness for last. And initially, this story was going to be comedic, Shannon Sharpe, but it's kind of serious. I was gonna, make up a little Lakers in 5 rhyme. But if you've been living under a rock, Shannon Sharpe is, the country uncle. He has this podcast. 2 years ago, I think, Cat Williams in January set it off with his interview that went viral. I think it was like 90 million views, or maybe at 100 million views now. And he was calling out all these comedians and everybody. It just blew up. And ever since then, Shannon Sharpe has been hidden with these interviews. I mean, he had Usher on there, Monique, when she was on there, she told Shannon, look, you need to stop dating these young girls and get you an old woman who can make you sweet potato pie, some real velvet cake, and rub your feet. And I bring up this because Shannon Sharpe, well, according to his lawyer who was on Don Lemon's YouTube show, he characterizes it as this woman who has an OnlyFans page, I believe, allegedly, that Shannon Sharpe was in a relationship with. She's like 20 and he's 56, or at the time that when they started, she's really young and he's quite older than she is. And the lawyer characterizes it as blackmail. She wanted money. I mean, she released recordings of him, just all kind of craziness. And I'm just like, why are you trying to date freshly out of her teens OnlyFans model, and you're freaking Shannon Sharpe with so much to lose? And that goes back to the Tracee Ellis Ross interview when she says she dates men who have as much to lose as her. Because if you don't, unfortunately, if you break up, they get mad at you, y'all have an argument, and you know there's a thin line between love and hate. Then they have everything to gain by exposing you, and you have everything to lose. So why a man of his age, his life experience, you are a football star. You know how this groupie game works. Why would you be dating this girl? Like, you have Michelle. And Michelle, if you recall, was the name he called out when his Instagram live came on and recorded him having relations with my Michelle. Ooh, my Michelle. And I thought that, that was a sticky situation that he got out of, but the recordings and the text messages showed that the girl, that the OnlyFans model, was jealous of the My Michelle video leaking. I guess she said, I'm going to get my shine one way or the other. But right when he's at the top of his game, has this $100 million podcast contract release, press release, then here comes this story. And I think he's been suspended, or I don't know if they call it administrative leave, pending the investigation with ESPN. Just foolishness. And if you're a guy, I would like to know, what do you think would possess a man with so much to lose to gamble it on, someone who can't be trusted? And I'm saying this assuming that it's a shakedown. Now, if it's, if he's found guilty and there's evidence of him doing, wrongdoing, then that's different. But on the surface, that's what it seems like. Because she was asking for millions and millions and millions of dollars instead of like going to the police or whatever, if it was that. And the lawyer releasing all these text messages and phone calls and things clearly believes that they have a case that is a shakedown. But even if it is, the embarrassment, the humiliation, like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I know nobody's perfect. It's just like, man, what are you doing, man? Shannon, come on, Unc. Like, can't you get into golfing? What do old men do? Chess? Can you play chess? Shannon, it's a lot of Taraji P. Henson is in her 50s. Vivica A. Fox is 60. And these are beautiful women. And maybe you ain't up to par in some way. And I don't know. I don't want to, bring you down or talk down on you. But see what Taraji doing.